T-Love Talks. 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 All right, family. Welcome to another edition of T-Love Talks. Y'all already know it's yours truly, Mr. T-Love. Back at you again with this real T-Love talk. You feel what I'm saying? So I'm giving it to you like this today, family. We're going to talk about podcast life. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people been asking me this question. Cuz, how you start doing your own podcast? You know what I'm saying? So I thought I would actually address that. You know what I'm saying? Basically like a little small how-to on to get started on the podcast. You know what I'm saying? Living this podcast life. You do not have to stop your 9-to-5 job. If you got a 9-to-5 job, whatever type of job you got, you work for yourself, you can still be a podcaster. So I thought I would drop that science today. If you all have any questions, feel free to drop the questions inside of the comment section. Also, if this is your first time watching your boy, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I've been dropping content for a while now, but I just really started kind of going heavier on the podcast. And so, you know what I'm saying, just giving you all some heads up and a little background on me. I am a singer, songwriter, as well as a podcaster. So I use my platform to actually promote my music as well. We were just listening to one of my intros. That's something that I actually created myself at the crib. And a lot of people think you need a bunch of fancy equipment to actually do a podcast, but you don't need a whole lot of fancy equipment to do a podcast. The only thing you truly ultimately need is yourself and a decent camera with good lighting on it if you want to be a podcaster. I would say, first of all, before you get into podcasting, have something that you want to actually talk about. You know what I'm saying? Something that you're passionate about, something that you feel like when you convey this subject to other people, they will ultimately gravitate to the information. Feel like you have something to give back. Trust in what you do, trust in your ability to relay information. If you're a person that's naturally good at speaking to people, and let's say, for example, when you're around your friends, you pretty much maintain a conversation with a lot of your friends and you can see that they're intrigued with the conversation, you might be good for podcasting, okay? So that's first thing first when you want to get into this business. Make sure you have something to talk about. You don't need a bunch of fancy equipment, family. Also, again, like I said, if y'all have any questions, make sure. I see we got a couple of people chiming in right now. But podcasting is really about having something to speak on, okay? So that's first thing first. Be passionate about what you want to speak on. You don't need a lot of fancy equipment. You need a good camera. That's what you need to get started. Now, if you ultimately you want to take it to the next level and actually be able to, you know, do things like just have your logo up in your video, or if you want to have, like, say for example, you want to have your words coming across the screen, at that point all you would need to do is download an app to your phone. Download a simple app to your phone. That way you can go ahead and edit your videos. Just do simple edits to your video. Put your logo at the bottom of the screen. You can actually you know, put words behind whatever you're doing whenever you're trying to create your content. Whether you do music or whether you're a content creator, this would be simple things that will work for you, how you could get started on this podcast life or on this podcast journey. You feel what I'm saying? So again, the reason why I brought the video to the table because I kept getting a lot of questions like, "Cuz, what you need, what you got to do to get started in this podcast life?" And it's simple, fella. Like I said, just have something to talk about, have a good camera, and be consistent. That's another aspect of it. I'm kind of just freestyling on these instructions, family. I didn't specifically write out no how-tos, but I'm making this a how-to video about podcasting. But be consistent. That's another thing. When I first started out, I would be in situations where I would have, I would set the agenda. I would make sure I set the agenda. But you know, stuff come up in life. You know what I'm saying? You might not do the show that you want to do the show. Like I initially started doing shows at 8 p.m. on Facebook on Thursday night. So what I did was I actually started doing like it was like a not even a talent show. It was just like a showcase your talent on my platform. So I knew that I had a lot of friends, family members that actually were creators, that were singers and things like that. So and rappers. So I created a platform where they can come on there, they can showcase their talent on my show. You know what I'm saying? And that was a way for me to create content. That way I could rip that content later on and I can make episodes of my own talent show. You see what I'm saying? And that's what it's about, fam. It's about being creative. It's about taking what's up here in your brain and actually putting it out into the universe. And that's how this whole journey began with me, just to give you a little background. But that's more or less like step 2 and step 3. Be consistent with your content. If you're gonna drop some stuff, make sure you're dropping some stuff at least once a week. Now, once you get heavy into it, you might actually start dropping videos every 2 or 3 days. You know what I'm saying? Like I've gotten to that point where, you know, I may drop a video every 2 or 3 days, like on my YouTube page. So plugging my YouTube page, y'all make sure y'all go check that out. I put the link in the actual comment section. It's MrTonyLuvit, the number 1. So that's Mr. Tony Lovett 1. So y'all check that out. Love with a U, not a O-L-E. Alright? So if you want to get into this podcasting, family, make sure that you have something to talk about it. First thing first, make sure you actually are passionate. I know one of my buddies talking about doing a sports podcast here real soon, and I definitely support him. He came to me and told me he was thinking about doing a sporting podcast, and I was like, hey, man, do that, man. That's a great idea. I mean, all you doing is you analyzing, just like Stephen A. Smith and all of them be analyzing different things. That's all you got to do. If you good analyzing and you a good you can actually, let's say for example, you're a good person to reflect the information or speak the information, and people like when you say the information back. You might be good for podcasts. You might need to really consider it because it's really starting to blow up, and all it is another form of entertainment. It's another form of getting information, getting, you know, different wisdom on things that you may not get in the mainstream. So that's why it's important, especially for black people. You know what I'm saying? You know, this is definitely black media. In my case, where you're dealing with black male media. So you know what I'm saying? You want to have different perspectives. You want to have different views. That's why we do what we do. You have content creators like myself to say their positions. And if you want a podcast, you can do the same thing. You can say your position. Just have something to talk about. You know what I'm saying? Have something that people can relate to. Have, you know, already know that you have that inside to do that, and people listen to you when you talk, family. All right? So consistency as well. On top of consistency, just to get into the technical part of it, if you wanna amp up your, let's say you want to amp up your look your background. You know, I went the simple route for this particular studio. This is not my first studio. This one I actually have in my bedroom. You don't have to have like some huge, you know, area. Like this is a small little area that I have in my bedroom. The acoustics is pretty good. Get you some posters. You know, whatever you feel like you need. I mean, mine is pretty simple. I got a few courage and dream big stickers back here, positive wording on it, things like that. They do have other technologies that I'm actually looking to where you can pretty much have your own green screen behind you as well. You know what I'm saying? They have webcams where they do that. You know what I'm saying? So if it's something you want to do, family, podcast life, it ain't for everybody. But again, I have been getting a lot of questions about it. So I thought I would address it and kind of give y'all, you know, my little spin on it, what I know about it. Yeah, start with your platforms. Utilize your platforms that you have, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, things of that nature. Now I think they said people doing content videos on Twitter now. I've never been on Twitter, so I don't know how Twitter works, but they said people doing content on Twitter now. But, you know, again, this podcast life, you know, I see my bro chiming in. What it do? Yes, sir. Top of the day. Happy rising, grand rising king. Yeah, man. So, definitely wanted to drop this video. I didn't know if y'all had no specific questions for me. But, again, this podcasting, it ain't for everybody. It is some good podcasters out there right now. It's a lot of black male content creators. I feel like I'm getting into the game early, as far as this, you know, this line of work. Should I say, for me, it's not really work because it's just everything is all natural and, you know, you dropping the material, you know. If you're a person like that, you could drop the material, you could drop the content, and you've been thinking about doing this. Again, all you need is a good camera and some good lighting, and you can actually do the same thing. A lot of times what I do before I do a story, I may read, say if I'm doing a particular story, I may read the articles, find a bunch of articles, current articles on the story, and then I'll either take a quote from the article, or I'll either just remember it in my head what I want to use from the article when I make my whenever I make my you know, my statements about whatever that I'm speaking on, you know what I'm saying, my opinions on whatever I'm speaking on, should I say. So that's really it, family. You know, it takes time to learn different softwares if you want to start really getting into the editing aspect of it and really having your video where you can actually include, let's say you got a video about R. Kelly, you know what I'm saying? If you want to do something like that, you might want to have some pictures of R. Kelly when you explaining the topic, you know what I'm saying? So if you have a simple software on your phone, you know what I'm saying, you can use a simple software. I use a Power Director, upgraded version of Power Director. You can actually include those images in your backgrounds while you're actually speaking about whatever you're speaking about. You record your video, then you take it, you pull it, you upload it to your Power Director. Then after you got the clips or the pictures that you want to be in your video, at that point you can go ahead and add them. During those speaking points, you can have them pop up like in the corner, how when you see people like in the news, they have that thing pop up in the corner where the person's face is. So it's simple tricks like that, but you know, some of this might be like, sound like foreign stuff to you all right now, but you can inbox me and you can send me questions if you have more questions on how to be a content creator. If you have questions on this podcast life. You know what I'm saying? It's really nothing to it. I played y'all my intro earlier, what I use on a lot of my videos. So, you know, so y'all can kind of hear. Nothing too much to it. It's just me kind of talking in the background, having a back and forth conversation. That's something I do all the time. Like, you think you need a bunch of people to actually record a commercial, and I just use myself to record a commercial. I just change my voice like I'm being two different people. Now, if you want to start getting into that, that's pretty simple too, but it is going to take a little bit more software to actually get it to the point where you can make your own like commercials and stuff like that. So that's something to consider too. That's kind of, once you really get into it a little bit more, you can take it to that level, start making your own commercials for your podcast, and you can promote yourself like that. You know, create a tag for your marketing, and then you can go from there. But yeah, y'all, definitely wanted to drop this video today. Y'all send me questions, comments, anything that you might happen. Make sure you subscribe to the page. I'm gonna be doing more videos like this, but again, do what you love, how you love, when you love. Don't mess around with your purpose, family. Don't mess around with your purpose. If you want to do something like this, podcasting is not very hard. I went over a few of the things, how I got started, and it's very simple. And if you got something to talk about, people will chime in, people will listen, people will gravitate to your message. So don't ever feel like your message is not important. But you already know, if you that type of person where people, they gravitate to your wisdom when you speak, you might have something, okay, family? So I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I think I've been long-winded enough. I'll probably wind up chopping up this video, editing it, and it'll be on YouTube as a how-to. If you have questions about how to snatch videos from Facebook, your live Facebook videos, and put them on YouTube, I can help you with that as well. So, all right, family. Again, it's yours truly, Mr. T Love. T Love Talks. Hey, T Love giving you that real talk. Y'all check in with your boy. Subscribe to the page. Like the video. I'm out. 1.